and most successful people in the world all have one unfair advantage, and that advantage is speed. I discovered this the hard way when I went from being broke and I was frustrated to finally being able to build multi-million-dollar companies. Not because I got smarter. I would say I'm not any smarter. I got faster. So if you are sick of watching other people pass you by, these are my 6 principles to help you learn anything faster than 99% of people. Number 1 is that fast feedback equates to fast learning. Speed without feedback is just chaos. And that brings me to this principle. The difference between winners and losers is not talent, is how quickly they get the reality to slap them in the face. So here's how I test everything now. Instead of asking myself, my team, calling people, will this work? Do you think this will work? Does this sound like a good idea? I ask, if I had to know whether this works or not in the next 7 days, what is the fastest way that I could find out? And that question has changed everything for me, for my life, for my business. Instead of building a full product, I would create a landing page and see who clicks the buy now button. Instead of perfecting a 50-slide presentation, I test the core idea with 3 people over lunch. I say, would you want to listen to this? Instead of overthinking somebody that I'm going to hire for weeks, I say, let's just give them a small project and then see how they handle it. And this is what I learned, is that reality and testing is your ultimate teacher. Everyone has a great idea on paper and in theory, but until you test it, until you take the first step, you just don't know. And most people, here's the thing, they think in quarters and years, where speed learners, they think in days and weeks. So the faster that you can get a yes or a no, confirmation of if it works or if it doesn't, the faster that you know, either I pivot or I double down on it. And so that's why, for example, when I'm talking about, is this the right workout plan for me? Is this the right diet for me? Is this the right direction for my company? No matter how big it is, how do we figure out in 7 days? And so you design every test for speed, not perfection. Is this probably the person I should marry? Is this likely going to be a workout plan that will get me to lose weight? Is this 80% likely the best decision for the company? The goal is to get directionally correct and get real data before your competitors even submit their business plan. People come to me all the time and they ask me, they're like, is this the right product for my business? Is this the right next product to sell to my customer? And I'm like, well, how can we find out in 7 days? They're like, and it like mind boggles people. They're like, 7 days, I've got to do this. And I'm like, well, the reality is if it was the right product and your customer really wanted it, we just need to, they would say yes to the offer. So can we just make people the offer and not charge them anything? And then we know that people want the thing. It's like, you want to do the least amount in the smallest amount of time to just know if you're directionally correct. And I take this premise with all areas of life, and it has served me so well because I learned so much faster than anybody else. Number 2 is that you ship ugly. Even with fast feedback, most people still freeze because they are waiting on a masterpiece. But here's the thing, masterpieces are built. They're not born. They don't come out of nowhere. If you are not slightly embarrassed by version 1.0, you have launched too late. So here's what I tell myself. This helps me a lot. I call it the first floppy pancake principle. You know when you're making pancakes and there's the first pancake, it's always ugly. It like burns on one side. It soaks up all the butter on the pan. It's like raw on one side, burnt on the other. And it looks like it like just got rolled over by a truck. The thing is that you make that pancake and you know that the first pancake always looks the worst because it soaks up all the butter. The pan's like heating up still. Like it just always is the worst one. But you don't throw out the whole batch. You're like, okay, I'm going to flip another one and then another one. And by the 5th pancake, you realize that you've got like IHOP style pancakes. Like they're looking pretty freaking good. And so every product launch, every piece of content, every business idea, they are all floppy pancakes at first. But most people spend months trying to get the first pancake to be the best pancake instead of saying number 50 might be the best. And here's the thing, you can't even improve a product that doesn't exist. You cannot get market feedback for something if you're still perfecting in your head. How do you know the pancake's good if nobody eats it? You don't. Maybe the first pancake tastes amazing and the 5th one tastes like you don't know. And so what I would tell you guys is you need to embrace the floppy pancake. I tell people all the time, I'm like, you cannot be afraid of falling on your ass in front of other people. Otherwise, you will never make it in business. Yes, people get to see that publicly, but I also have the success I do because I'm willing to do that. And so the reality is the person who ships 10 imperfect versions is always going to beat the person that's still polishing number 1. Number 3 is cut your deadlines in half. You want to force yourself to be into floppy pancake mode? you need to use this tool, okay? The fastest way to get faster is to give yourself half the time that you think is needed. This is something that I do with myself all the time because I tend to be the type of person that's like, it'll take me 3 weeks to do this. But the reality is that it won't take me 3 weeks. It might take me 3 hours, okay? And so I've learned to use Parkinson's law against myself. Parkinson's law is work expands to fill the time available. So for me, this is what I know. If I think that something will take me 2 weeks, I give myself 1. If I think it's going to take 4 hours, I give myself 2. And here's what I have seen happen. I become more innovative. I stop polishing things that don't actually matter. I focus on only the things that actually move the needle. I make decisions faster. And so, for example, last month, I had to prepare for a $2 million pitch. And normally I would spend 3-4 weeks obsessing over every little slide. And instead I said, I'm going to do what my husband does, who doesn't prepare at all. And I was like, I'm going to give myself 3 days. That's it. 3 days to think about it. I'm going to do the 3 days prior to it. So it's like really feeling like it's close. It's like at the line. And ironically, it was the best pitch that I'd ever given. And now why was that? Because I only focused on the things that mattered instead of like 30 things that didn't have anything to do with it, which also when you focus on the 30 things, they're usually things that don't matter and they distract you from the things that do. So you're actually stealing your attention from the things that are going to move the needle, which is the worst part of this. And so what this taught me for myself and what I've learned through enacting this process is that time pressure doesn't create stress. It creates clarity because the less time you have, the faster you actually figure out what matters. And so right now, if you have deadlines, if you have projects you're working on, cut it all in half. Cut it in half. It's a fun thing that I like to do with meetings is that I'll just go through everyone's and be like, cut everything in half. And the team's like, oh gosh, she's at it again. But I'm like, I just want to see, can I still get it done? Can we still solve the problems with half the time? And I will bet you that you will still get it done, but you will feel more focused, you will feel less analysis paralysis, and you will realize that speed comes from working sharper, working in smaller segments, not longer hours. Number 4 is that success is your biggest enemy. The moment that you start winning is the exact moment that people lose everything. Comfort is the killer of champions. Imagine this, Alex and myself, we are pulling in like $300,000 a month from our kitchen table. Life is good. We just got married. We went from being broke and being in debt to like having $300,000 a month, working from our kitchen table, 1 assistant. Life felt good. I remember we were like, we can finally get appetizers and guac at Chipotle. This is amazing. Then we got invited to a mastermind. And at that mastermind, everybody there was making like 8 figures a year. And we were still like making, low 7s. And I remember we go up there and we tell everybody what's going on with the business and how easy it feels and how much money we're making, how fast it's growing. And it's amazing. We've only got like 2 people working with us. And I remember this guy with a $50 million company pulls me aside at the event. He said something and it gave me chills and unfortunately sticks with me to this day. He looked at me, he said, kid, if making money feels easy right now, that's your biggest red flag. Because while you're celebrating, somebody hungrier than you is studying your playbook, raising capital, hiring people, and planning to bury you. And I remember that moment, it was like, the honeymoon's over. It hit me like a freight train. I was like, oh, I got snapped out of whatever I was in, like the post-marriage excitement, like everything feels good. We're not struggling anymore. I was like, oh my gosh, I realized that I had already started coasting. I was taking longer lunches. We were getting guac at Chipotle. I was sleeping in. I was thinking that I'd made it. And this is the truth. Success doesn't give you permission to slow down. It's actually a warning sign that you need to accelerate. If you really think about it, right? The graveyard of businesses are filled with companies that got comfortable. Think Blockbuster, think Kodak, think BlackBerry. They all had their moment where they felt invincible. They felt unstoppable, but then they didn't get ahead. And that's the thing. Speed is not just about getting ahead. It's about staying ahead. And so what I want you to learn from this is that when things feel easy, when success feels easy, that's your cue to press harder on the gas pedal. And the people who are outpacing you, they are not smarter than you. They are just moving faster than you. Number 5 is the 5-minute rule. So how do you build that speed into how you operate every day? It starts with killing your worst enemy, which is hesitation. Every second that you hesitate, somebody else is already doing what you're still thinking about. My first mentor taught me something ridiculously simple, but it stuck with me and it has served me very well until this day. He said, if it takes less than 5 minutes and you have 5 minutes, you do it now. You hear, oh, I'll do that, later. I'll write that on my list. Why don't you just do it now? Don't gotta write it down if you can just do it at this exact moment. I remember he said to me, every time you say I'll do it later, you're paying compound interest on procrastination, and that interest is what will bankrupt you. It kind of hit me. I was like, hesitation isn't just delay. It's literally theft. It's stealing from your future self. And I realized that I was actually pretty bad at this. I would spend all this time trying to gather new information, like trying to figure out what other people are doing, trying to make sure I had the perfect move, the perfect plan, like just get more information on it. While my competitors and people who were going to beat me, they were out there testing things, gathering real world results. And when I realized after I shifted into learning how to do this and go faster, is that clarity does not come from thinking harder. It also doesn't come from thinking more. It comes from doing things faster and testing things. So here's what I would give to you. If it takes less than 5 minutes, do it immediately. There's no need to write it down and have a 15 to-do list if you can just do half those things right now. And you can see how this one tiny habit transforms your entire momentum, because now I realize my whole life has now been run that way. If it's like, oh, I gotta order groceries, I've gotta get back to that person, I've gotta send that email. All right, well, do you have 20 minutes now? Well, fuck it. What's wrong with right now? Why can't you just do it now? And then you realize that so often there's just a tiny bit of friction between us and the task, and we allow that friction to let us put it on our to-do list. But the reality is that most of the time we just have 5 minutes. The last piece is that you want to love the destination, not the GPS to get you there. Okay, this is the final secret that separates speed learners from speed crashers, if you may say. Okay, winners don't fall in love with their plan. They fall in love with where they're going. Now, here's my philosophy. Pick a lane, go all in, but always be ready to switch lanes without warning. Now, I know it sounds contradictory, but that's because that's exactly how this works, okay? For example, when I first started coaching people in fitness, I was obsessed with fitness. I was going to be the girl that transformed everybody's bodies. I was going to build the perfect workout plan, the perfect program, every set, every rep, the login credentials, the portal, the videos, everything is going to be perfect. 6 months in, I realized something, which is my most successful clients were not just like getting ripped and looking great in bikinis, okay? They were more confident. They were more disciplined. They were building more success in their careers, their relationships, like literally everything in their life was improving. And I think that a lot of people would say, well, I'm going to stick to my guns. Like, I only help people with fitness, right? But instead I asked myself this question. I said, am I in love with fitness, or am I just in love with helping people win at life? And I remember it really hit me. I was like, I love all of it. This is just one segment of it. Fitness is one piece, but I actually love helping people with all of these things. So I pivoted, started Gym Launch, where we help people learn not just how to get in shape and understand diet, exercise, all these things, but how to build a business, how to make money, how to improve all these other areas of their lives. And if I had been so committed to like, it's fitness, that's the vehicle, then I would have never ever been able to do that and built this business that had built, much of the material success in my life. And if I hadn't done that, then I wouldn't be here having built acquisition.com, making these videos today. So the goal here is not to avoid mistakes. It's actually just to make them faster than everybody else, because faster mistakes means faster learning, means faster success. So it just creates all this momentum so that you can get ahead of everybody else. What I would tell you is this: commit 100% to the direction, but hold the method loose with your hands. It's like there's a saying that I love, which is you want strong opinions loosely held. I think about this the same way. It's like you want to be super committed and super willing to pivot. It's like if you can do both of those things, then you can win. So all in all, when we think about learning fast, speed is not about rushing. It is actually about removing